Hello everybody, welcome back. It's of course Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you along. Big thanks of course to our partners on board with us here. Score energy drinks. You can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show. We'll give you an opportunity to spot the ball a little bit later. Apparently this week it's very hard, but we'll give you that opportunity. MCAM 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. And of course, Thorburn Security Solutions. Folks, welcome to my panel. Jerome Parvata. Jerome, nice to have you back.
Yeah, good to be back. I just said to Faisal, it's almost the end. And Faisal said it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. It's a 12-month season. Am I right, Faisal?
Yes, yeah, things have changed. Good evening, firstly, JP. Good evening, viewers and that there. Yeah, so 12 months, I wouldn't say 24 months actually. If you look at it, we haven't had a break in that there. So yeah, still going strong.
I mean, you've got, if you look at the average year, you start off in the beginning of the year with friendly fixtures, but at the same time, you've got Varsity Cup, you've got some sevens rugby happening, but a lot of people playing friendlies. They're getting ready for the league. You've got Curry Cup, you've got Stormers, you've got under 20s. Then starts your league. Women's rugby starts. Stormers are playing. When that finishes, we roll into sevens. I mean, it doesn't stop.
Never ending. I think you've got your training, you've got your off season, you've got in season, you've got planning, you've got workshops. It's
yeah, of course. We didn't even talk about administration.
Yeah, so
he's also working on the 31st of December. He didn't tell you that.
Well, but there's a good point, Jerome, because you just mentioned it yourself. I mean, now the Stormers play on those days. New Year's Eve, not New Year's Eve. I'm not sure. New Year's Eve.
I think it's on the 21st. 23rd
and then the 31st.
And the 31st, December.
I think
December, 7 o'clock kickoff. I think so, yeah. New Year's Eve,
well, if you remember back in the day, we would see...
straight to the party after that.
On the 2nd of January, I think we used to see the Stormers playing against the Cobras. We used to have that cricket day. Now they're playing real rugby.
Definitely. I think, yeah, it's the first time you'll have Cape Town Stadium, 12 o'clock in the evening, celebrating New Year's Eve at Cape Town Stadium.
With a game of rugby. With a game of rugby. Right, folks, let's take a look now. Of course, the score, Western Province Club Rugby Sevens is on the roll. We'll also take a look at the draw, but we have now got to our final selections. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Coming up in the show tonight, a whole bunch of highlights for you. Hamiltons and Primrose in the southern region. Young Gardens and Whistling Wheels. Marties and Collegians. Franschhoek and Strand United, and a whole bunch more still coming up. We'll, of course, take a look at the logs results a little bit later. We'll take a look at the logs, in fact. But let's go. Highlights first. In the Southern Region, Hamilton's up against Primrose. This feature was brought to you by MCAM 24-hour pharmacy, Score energy drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MCAM 24-hour pharmacy, Score energy drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, welcome back, folks. So there we go. Southern Region, first game on the cards then. Hamilton's walking away 33 points to 7 over Primrose. Jerome, it's back, round 2. This is, of course, important games for everybody right now because they're looking to qualify.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at this game, like Hamilton's, I mean, they're always up there in the qualifiers playing. And I mean, Primrose, they tried. Great team effort to score the try at the end there. But Hamilton's too strong for Primrose.
Faisal, let's for Hamilton's this will be, of course, be very important. I mean, but everybody's pushing now for second place, or at least to make the qualifiers. But Hamilton's will be looking to bounce back because, I mean, they'll still be remembering that knock that they took against Hands and Hearts at Newlands.
No, definitely. I think for a lot of teams, it's about ending the season on a high. And I think, you know, where Hamilton's coming from, you know, 15s and also, like you said, previous 7s and that they would want to end this season, you know. So they did pretty well now in the pool stages, but I think now is where the big guns and, you know, where it counts in it.
Well, let's quickly take a look at the log then. In the Southern Region, of course, there's 2 pools in the Southern Region, and these are the teams then that will be going through. So Hamilton's ended up sitting at number 1 in the Southern Region, followed by Unimillen Gardens. And then, of course, Primrose in 4th place, followed by Hamadia's, Young Wesley, Silvertree, and Temperance and Cities. So, Jerome, those are your 2 teams going through. Hamilton, Unimill, Gardens gave it a bit of a go at the end there, but Hamilton's and Unimill going through, or Unimillies.
Yeah, look, now it's the top team, so I mean we all expected that, but I mean Primrose, Gardens, they've actually done well.
Right, let's take a look at Pool B also in the Southern Region. Of course, you see now False Bay and SK Warmers, they come through, so they will be going to the qualifiers, followed by, of course, Rangers and Atlantis also giving it a bit of a run there. That's your other team then, Faisal, your other 2 that are going to go through. So, False Bay and SK Warmers. Yeah,
so as you know, from the Southern Region, there's 4 teams, the Pool A2, top 2, and Pool B, the top 2.
Right, let's take a look now at the match between, well, now we move to the second region, Stellenbosch and Paarl region. First match up, Young Gardens. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right. So, of course, a win there for Gardens over Whistling Wheels. Young Gardens it is. Jerome, your feeling on the action?
It's the second game that we watch now, JP, the one team just run away with the score. And so I hope if we continue with the program, there will be maybe teams a bit even. But yeah, Young Gardens too strong for Whistling Wheels.
Well, we're still going to take a look at the log and see who comes through in the southern region. So all that will be a surprise. And don't forget, of course, a little bit later we'll be taking a look at the draw for the finals. That's, of course, happening this coming weekend at Villages. We'll take a break. When we come back from the break, we've got a couple more matches up for you. Of course, taking a look at Marties up against Collegians and Franschhoek up against Strand United, as well as a couple of other games. Back in a sec. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. It's, of course, Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you along. Right, so we are currently watching the Sevens, of course, rolled out in 3 different venues. All central venues, Faisal, makes things a little bit easier. And it's a nice place for fans to all get to in one place and watch Sevens rugby.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, this past 2 weeks has been fantastic. Special thanks, I think, to Helderberg, Goodwood, and, obviously City Park for hosting it. It was a trial, coming from CPUT last year with COVID. We had the 3 venues and that there. Yeah. So it definitely worked out from, from transport, from spectators. So I think it's definitely a positive in terms of, what we can take from the Sevens.
Right, so we move to the Stellenbosch Paarl region. That's one of the regions. Of course, the other one was a Goodwood, and then, of course, at City Park. But it was the Stellenbosch Paarl region. Marties up against Collegians. Let's take a look. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, I think that is your typical sort of Sevens match. Stellenbosch University, Marties, Collegians, 27-12 to at least to Marties. But Jerome, I mean, 27-12 in a 15s match is a big score, but in a Sevens match, it's not such a big number.
No, that's definitely. And I mean, heads off to Collegians. They had at one stage they sort of had Marties there. They couldn't score there. We saw now they were supposed to score, they couldn't score. but they had another opportunity to score. So that game was pretty even. And I mean, okay, well
But
done
it's
to
the
Marties
skills. It's the
winning
skills that we're
game.
seeing.
But you can see the skills of collegians. I mean, obviously the step and the passing and the cross kick, and Marties just coming with the brutal force, but also good skills.
We will take a look at the logs in a second and see who goes through. But Faisal, Marties is always a threat in sevens rugby. They, of course, are former champions, and they would have been training together. We will see who's on top of the log, but you always expect big things from them.
No, definitely. I think it's it's always great having the universities also part, especially this time of the year and that there. So, I think coming off from the varsity sevens and at Marties, UWC, they've had a bit of experience with the sevens and that. And as I said earlier on, I think when it comes to sevens, it's good planning and preparation, for the season ahead, off season and that there. So it's always they're always a formidable force, whether it's 15s and sevens. I think any team, having the opportunity to play and to beat them, that's a good achievement.
Let's take a look at our next match then, also in the Stellenbosch Paarl region. Franschhoek up against Strand United. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, so Jerome, let's go to you again. Franschhoek, 40 points to 5. That's a big win.
Yeah, no, I mean, also in 15s, Franschhoek is a team that can throw the ball around, and if you're not up with the defense, they will kill you. So I mean, that's their type of game, and well done to them. I mean, it's a good not a good result for Strand, but I mean, Franschhoek is known for running rugby.
Right, folks. Well, of course, as you know, last week we were at the DHL Western Province Rugby Annual Awards Dinner with the Western Province Currie Cup players and, of course, the DHL Stormers. And, of course, for those of you that are not aware, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is the official pharmacy to Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers. They're just down the road from MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. MChem is, of course, on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. And you will recall it wasn't so long ago that we bumped into Alistair from Mark at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. Of course, folks, for those of you that are not aware, MChem is open 24 hours a day. They've got free parking, great coffee shop upstairs. But I think one of the things that you must always remember about MChem is just how helpful the service is. When you walk into MChem, there's always somebody there to help you. And many times I've been told, if you're not sure about where to get something, try MChem first, MChem 24-hour pharmacy. The standard of products is extremely high and the prices are really good. And of course, if they don't have the product, they will make sure that they find it for you. I love the fact that there's always a nursing sister on duty and that they've got special zones at MChem that can look after you. From the healthcare zone to the dispensary to the travel clinic, through the orthopedic and surgical zone, which is of course very helpful for you if you're a rugby player or a sports person, because you can get your strapping, you can get your braces, and important that you get the right advice for those kind of products. And of course, there is the sports nutrition section upstairs, the supplement zone, where you can get the right advice, great products, and very good products, brands. And of course, don't forget, while you're doing your shopping, you can sit in the coffee shop and have a cup of coffee and don't forget that there's, of course, an ATM. Folks, MChem 24-hour pharmacy is on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. And who knows, maybe you'll bump into one of the DHL Stormers while you're sitting there doing your shopping. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking about club rugby. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. It's, of course, Cape Rugby TV time, and the score, Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, is on the go at the moment. You can win yourself a case of score a little bit later. Stick around. We will explain to you how to do that. Of course, you can go spot the ball. Jerome, in fact, Faisal, let's go to you. Score Sevens. You're playing in the regions now. You're playing in the southern region, the northern regions. The games are very fast. I mean, Sevens rugby. Do we see derby matches here? Do derby matches make any difference, or is it too quick?
I think, there's always derbies and that, there's always that confrontation in terms of who's playing who and that. But I think, it's quick, it's fast, it's paced. I think before you get stuck in, it's, the end of the game. So focus is in terms of putting points on the board as opposed to, that physicality that happens on the field.
But Jerome, but when it's not sort of preparing for it like that, like a normal 15s match where you've got one game coming up on Saturday and you're thinking, this is a big game, it's a derby game. In the sevens, you're probably going to play 3 different teams, so maybe the derby factor a little bit less on the day?
Look, I think it's still the same, but obviously your focus can't be, like you say, on the one game. There's another 2 games after whoever is playing a derby. Yeah. But it's still competitive, the derbies.
So Faisal, just in terms of that, what Jerome was saying, then are you allowed to play different players from the one game to the next game?
So on the day, basically, you would identify or select 15 players for the day. And then for each game, from the 15, you would select 12. That will be your match, the 7 on the field and 5 reserves and that. So it's rolling subs on and off, but once your 5 is used, basically you can't replace.
And sorry, can I ask Faisal, do you find that like teams will only name 13 and have 2 sort of wild cards, or are they not allowed to do that?
So you'll have, it's 15. So the names that you give from that 15, 12 will be taken. So there's no changing or
so 12 players must arrive on the day.
15 can arrive.
15 can arrive.
12 can be chosen for a particular game.
All right. So there's 3 players that. Is it 3 players then that are not going to play on the day?
That's not going to be not going to play, not going to be on the bench.
All right. Well, let's take a look now. We talk about derby matches, of course, in the Helderberg region, and we say that maybe the derby factor is not so big, but when Helderberg plays against Macassar, it's always a bit of a derby. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. It is a derby. Helderberg then, Jerome, taking the points, 12 points to 7 over Macassar. They, of course, are in the mix to make it into the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can say in this game that Helderberg was lucky to win this game. There was one opportunity where Macassar had to score, which they didn't, but that was a typical, like you say, we were talking about derbies, that was a derby.
Yeah, well, let's take a look then to see who goes through. Of course, in the Stellenbosch Paarl region, and there you see it, Helderberg goes through to the finals, as does Macassar. So that game, of course, made sure that the two teams were in the mix to go through. Of course, Franschhoek narrowly missing out by just 1 point. Faisal, I mean, if you look at this league here, you've got some close calls. Helderberg, Macassar, Franschhoek. Franschhoek will be bitterly disappointed that they missed out.
Yeah, no, it's always sad, not having Franschhoek. I think, they're a very good team, had a good season, good supporters and that there. And I think if you look at the results, everything is very close. It went down to points difference. Like you said, Franschhoek just unlucky, with regards to, pulling through.
We go from here, we go to the northern region now, where we take a look at the match. Well, I would say almost, there's another derby match. They're not that far away from each other. Goodwood and Police, Jerome, almost a derby match?
Yeah, it's almost a derby.
Almost a derby match, yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, there we go. Goodwood walking away with the points, 12 points to 7 then in the northern region. Jerome, close game, 7 points margin, that kind of game can go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, a few weeks ago we were talking about the sevens and opportunities for teams to play. I mean, Goodwood, they really didn't have a good 15 season, so it gives them an opportunity to play in the sevens and win some games, it just builds the morale of the players, which is good.
Faisal, for Police also a great opportunity to keep the guys going, bring the players together, and send out the message that they are active and ready for 2023.
No, definitely. I think, again, the key thing is just keeping the club going, keeping the players going, and, building for next year and that there. So, Police, struggled a bit. I think it's now's an opportunity. You got a blank page in terms of, planning and preparation for 2023.
Still a great opportunity to watch a bit of sevens rugby action, and of course the moms, the dads and the fans were out at the 3 different venues this past weekend: City Park, Helderberg, and of course at the Goodwood Sports Grounds. Folks, we are going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we are going to take a look at the highlights from also staying, in fact, in the northern region, where there's quite a bit of, or has been quite a bit of action, northern region. But we'll now take a look at the highlights after this in the match between LC Sophia and Bishop Lavers. We'll get you the full scores there. And of course, Hands and Hearts up against Brackenfell, and 2 cracker teams there as well. And of course, we'll be taking a look at who wins the case of Score energy drinks after the break. Don't go away, back in a sec. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. Of course, we're going to talk about the Score energy drinks competition in a second. Faisal, before we go there, nice to have Score on board again with the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've come a long way from the start, and that they're always there. They're always supporting. Again, at the venues and that, we've got to support the suppliers and sponsors that support us, and they are one brand that has been exceptional and always willing to assist, always willing to help. And the great thing is, from the club's perspective, a lot of the guys that played not making the finals, but the guarantee is a set of jerseys.
Wow. All right. So you play in the Sevens rugby competition, and win or lose, you end up with a set of Score rugby jerseys that you can use in your 15s. I think that's absolutely fantastic. We stayed in the northern region, where it was LC Sophia up against Bishop Lavers. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Wow, absolutely fantastic match. Forget about the points. Jerome, let's just take a look. Well, Faisal, let's start with you. Firstly, for LC Sophia, they do walk away with a win. But for LC Sophia, who had a tough time during the league, for them to come to the Sevens rugby, get the players together, and end up with some points on the board, absolutely incredible.
No, definitely. I must commend and congratulate LCs. I mean, had a tough season, obviously being relegated and that there, but still, for them to perceive and to play in the Sevens, it shows a club that has strength, that has, you can kick them when they're down, but they're going to be back. I can promise you
It's
now,
the
next
spirit.
year,
It's the
the
spirit,
spirit is there. Looking at the game as well, it's a great win for them, and definitely, I think, they're definitely going to be a team next year that's going to be bouncing back.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely give a shout out to Alice and Romeo and, of course, Jerome at Elsie's. Going to the other Jerome now, Jerome Paarl. Let's talk about Bishop Lavis. Because what we're seeing there, forget about the points, but we're seeing a fighting spirit. Down to the last second. I mean, Bishop Lavis actually showed a few clubs a couple of lessons there.
Yeah, it just shows, JP, their fighting spirit. And I mean, heads up to them also. I mean, they're always there, always playing. There's a lot of clubs out of there that can really learn something from them. It's about the community, it's about playing the game, and it's about having fun.
But
and
they
they
also
really had fun. I mean, like you say, at the end there, they never give up.
They never give up, and I mean, and the lesson was there. Not only it went to show why he didn't give up, because they saved some points and they got a turnaround in their own dead ball line.
Yeah, it's a pity. I would have loved them to score.
Yeah. Well, fantastic match there. Yes, at least Elsie Sophia and Bishop Lavis. What fighting spirit. But we stay in the northern region where we see huge match here between Hands and Hearts and Brackenfell. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. So, Hands and Hearts walking away then with a win over Brackenfell. We will still tell you who goes through, but Jerome, you can see that these two teams are well practiced. Hands and Hearts, of course, well versed in sevens. They understand what they want to do. And you can see why they are such a strong team.
Yeah, I think, isn't this also a derby game?
I don't know, would you say this is a
neighbours
derby?
or the Kraaifontein, Brackenfell,
Brackenfell.
Yeah,
across the road.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, but I mean, we know Hands and Hearts, and also like Brackenfell is also quite strong in the sevens. The previous week they were quite good. I don't know what happened this week, but I mean they were also competitive. I mean, they didn't make it easy for Hands and Hearts, but obviously the skills and the speed of Hands and Hearts was at the end too much for Brackenfell.
Right, folks, I'm going to give you an opportunity now to, well, in fact, I'm going to remind you that you need to go to the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, if you want to enter the score competition. I'm going to ask Jerome Paarl and Faisal Felton from Western Province Rugby, both of them, to give it a shot. Now, this was a particularly difficult competition, but nevertheless, it's always fun to do. Our winner walks away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. Right, Mr. Felton, let's see if we can start off with you, sir. You've got an opportunity here to spot the ball. A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. Would you like to give it a shot, or should we go with Jerome first?
Yeah, I say you're saying it's a difficult one, so it's obviously somewhere where we least expect. So I will go with A2.
You're going to go with A2. Fraser Felton books A2 on the board. Jerome, would you like to give it a go?
I think I know a bit about skills, so I'll go B2.
B2, right. Well, let's see how much you do know about skills. I'm going to go then with... I'm going to go into the quadrant where the photographer whose name was supplied from Zahid Apollos, of course, always kind enough to share some nice photographs with us. So I'm going to go with C2. Let's take a look and see where, in fact, is the ball today. There it is. It's sitting there in A1. Jerome, would you have thought that what on earth? And maybe that's a long pass.
I don't know anything about skills if I look at the guy's hands.
Nowhere near.
Well, congratulations then to last week's winner. But we will, of course, announce that next week, because this week, unfortunately, out of the hundreds of entries that we got, nobody got it right. So we carry it over to next week to give you an opportunity again to have a, should we say, a bite of the cherry, or win yourself a case of Score energy drinks.
So does that mean it's double up for next week?
It's a double up. Are we going to go with a double up competition? No, I think we'll stick to the rules. Folks,
If I win next week, can I win a case of Score?
Gentlemen, you both are recused from this competition. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to take a look at, of course, the finals of who goes through to play in the finals, as well as the log. But we've got a few more games for you in the Northern region. And then, of course, we're going to speak to Western Province Rugby about the draw, so that you know what the fixtures are that are coming up this weekend. We'll take a break. Don't go away. Right, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you can see all the Score jerseys behind me there. Well, you can keep watching. Of course, you always see your club rugby jerseys. All the clubs are able to provide their jerseys to us with their sponsor's name on. We put it behind us. But, of course, the big name that is shining at the moment is Score Energy Drinks. Of course, Score is the primary sponsor of the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. Right, we stay in the Northern region. Jerome, before we go to the Northern region, is it so far what you're expecting?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we know more or less the teams, but there was a couple of surprises. And teams that surprised, that's lower down, but they've done well in the competition.
Faisal, talking about the competition, I mean, from a fan perspective, from an excitement perspective, are you happy with what you're seeing so far? I mean, because when I look at the field, I'm seeing gazebos everywhere. I'm seeing fans in the background. Kids are playing around. It's your typical Saturday afternoon rugby entertainment.
No, definitely. I think from our side, it's always a success. The Score Sevens, you look at the numbers of participations. We had, 48 teams participating. And also, I think, one of the things that we've also forgotten is, to also say thank you, I think, to the referees as well.
I was going to ask you, I mean, you were talking about early on about 15 players and 12 players and rolling subs, but on any given day, you've probably got 30, 40 games that are playing out. Must be also all hands on deck for the referees. No,
definitely. I think, we must come in and say thank you to them. I think, week in, week out, the guys are there. We, given them the format in terms of how we want to play. Yeah. And, the standard and the quality has been great in terms of refereeing. And I think, again, it boils down to that community in terms of participation from a player perspective, coaching perspective, but also, again, the referees as well. We mustn't forget, planning and preparation for 2023.
Well, we've got a big game for you to take a look at now. UWC was up against Bellar in the Northern region. Let's take a look. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Big game. UWC 12-7 over Belhar, but Jerome, UWC are formidable sevens rugby side. Belhar will be happy with the result. Competing against UWC, who just won the university's sevens tournament, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference between the sides were at the end, the defense of UWC was good, and one slip off from Belhar on defense cost them the game.
If I understand it correctly, the finals happening at Villages this coming Saturday.
Yeah, so we've got 12 teams participating, the top 2 from each of the pools in the 3 regions. So looking at the teams that's participating, you know, it's definitely strength versus strength. It's going to be exciting, looking at starting about 12 o'clock, finishing off at about 6 o'clock. So, you know, you've got nothing to do, come down, support,
Yeah, so we're of course currently sitting live in the draw, where in fact it is the draw, Jerome. What will the teams be looking for here today? Will they be looking to how will they? I mean, firstly, how many pools will be playing on Saturday?
You've got, like, we've obviously the draw taking place. You've got the 12 teams. You've got 4 pools, and each pool's got 3 teams. So basically, you'll have. Depending on where the teams end off, obviously the top team in each of the pools will go through to the main competition. The teams ending second will play in the plate, and then the teams ending third will play in the bowl and that there.
Of course, the other thing is that these teams have never played against each other before, because they're all separate regions.
Yeah, so but
Other
I mean,
than maybe in the previous years gone by, but this year it's the first time.
Yeah, but you also know how competitive some of these coaches are. I'm pretty sure they will get hold of the footage of the games and go through.
Well, if they watch Cape Rugby TV, they would have been seeing the games as well. Is that something that the players will be looking at? They'll be doing video analysis this early in the game? In the week?
Look, I believe just to give your team a bit of a insight of what's happening, say if Marty's play hands and hearts, they know what to expect, where they want to play and what sort of style they play, how they defend. So that's important for a coach to know, I think.
Faisal, all right, so you guys spent a bit of time now doing the draw. The teams were all, at least the managers and coaches from the various clubs are online. So you've now established already Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, Pool D. Just starting with Pool A already, we're looking at a tough team. Tygerberg, Macassar and Durbell in the same pool.
Then looking at the pools and that there, I mean, every pool I think is a pool of death if you look at it. And it's every team that is there, you know, have had a fantastic couple of weeks and that there. So I think a lot to be expected from a lot of those teams and that there. So it's going to be an exciting week.
Other pools then, folks, is in Pool B. It's UWC, Young Peoples and Unimol. Then, of course, Pool C sees Helderberg, False Bay, Hands and Hearts. And then in Pool D, it's Stellenbosch, Hamiltons, and SK Warmers. Faisal, of course, everybody plays each other twice in each pool.
Yeah, 2 matches each pool, and then you have the top team from each of the pool that will go through to the main, and then the teams ending second go through to the plate, and teams ending third that will go through to the shield. So, there's no easy games. From the start, you got to put points on the board. You got to get the log points in that there. I mean, you can't relax.
No, it's going to be very exciting. You've got a cracker bunch of teams. I mean, you could probably, you've got the 12 best 7 rugby teams in Western Province at Villages on Saturday. Tell me about the Cape Town Sevens. It's coming up soon.
Yeah, JP, I think, a lot of people, have perception that, Cape Town Sevens took place in August. That was the World Cup. We still have, the Cape Town Sevens taking place in December, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be jam-packed. I think, the great thing as well this weekend, you come down to Villages, you have an opportunity to win 2 tickets for the 3 days, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plus opportunity to win a ball, a series ball as well. So definitely something to look forward to. So
get down to Villages this weekend and you can win yourself a set of tickets for the HSBC Sevens.
Yeah, definitely. I think also, from a club side as well, the opportunity, through the union as well to get tickets, to buy tickets and that there. So yeah, definitely something to look forward. Month to go to Sevens, so make sure you're part of the vibe and the atmosphere.
Jerome, thanks for joining us. We're looking forward to catching up with you again next week.
Pleasure, JP. See you guys next week.
Faisal, yeah, good luck for Saturday. Exciting. We can't wait.
Definitely looking forward to it. And as I said again, make sure you're down there. It's going to be fun, exciting, and yeah, it's going to be a great way to end the season.
By the way, folks, of course, last week we were at the DHL Western Province Rugby Annual Awards Dinner, where it was an opportunity, of course, across the board for clubs to get their trophies. In some cases, Faisal, am I right? Some of those trophies more than 100 years old?
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years.
I mean, if you look at, some of those trophies, 1880, your
1880.
I mean, it's fantastic. I think, you're looking at all the history in terms of what we have.
A lot of brasso that's gone into that.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll be showing you the highlights within the next fortnight. Of course, all the clubs received their trophies, as well as the Western Province Rugby players who got, in some cases, got their 100 cap jersey or blazer, because they, of course, did not have an award ceremony in the last 2 years. And of course, Chippy Solomons and John Dobson were giving them their caps. It was, of course, held at Calvin Grove, as well as a number of club delegates who, in fact, got their blazers. Not to mention the fact that former President Mr. Toby Titus was also acknowledged long-standing service at the award. So stick around. We'll give you that in the next fortnight, where we bring you the DHL Western Province Rugby Annual Awards Dinner. That's a wrap from us this evening. We're looking forward to seeing you at Villages. First ball kicks off on Saturday at Brookside at 12 o'clock. The Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens tournament. Again, it's back. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.